Every once in a while, Washington sneaks through a bill that barely registers on mainstream headlines. But for folks like us, the ones who actually live at the range, train hard, and buy ammunition by the case, this one is massive. Right before the 4th of July fireworks even lit the sky, Congress pushed through one of the largest defense spending packages we've seen in more than 10 years. Now most people are focused on the political noise wrapped around it. But buried deep in those pages is a detail that'll shake up your local gun shop, your favorite online ammo retailer, and even the shelves at your range. Billions of dollars, and I mean billions, are being poured directly into America's ammunition production pipeline. And if you've been paying attention the last few years, you already know why this matters. Back in 2020, a case of 1,000 rounds of 5.56 NATO that once cost around $400 suddenly spiked over $1,000. If you could even find it. Shops were bone dry, back orders stacked up for months, and shooters everywhere were scrambling just to keep their rifles fed. This new package is designed to keep that from happening again. We're talking major reinforcements to plants like the Lake City Army Ammunition Plant, the same factory cranking out millions of rounds every single year that don't just go to Uncle Sam, but end up in civilian hands too. This isn't just about topping off military stockpiles. It's about strengthening the entire supply chain so regular shooters like you and me can load our mags without feeling like we need a loan officer on speed dial. And if you think this is strictly government business with no impact on civilian shooters, you're flat out wrong. History proves otherwise. Year after year, about half of the small arms ammunition from Lake City ends up flowing straight into the civilian market. That means your next range day, your next hunting season, and your next defensive training course, all of it, just got a little more secure. Now, let's talk numbers. There's $100 million locked in specifically to boost production of 5.56 NATO and 7.62 NATO. On the surface, that sounds like a military-only move. But if you understand how Lake City operates, you know that's not the case. Lake City isn't some blacked-out bunker churning ammo only for warfighters. It's a production powerhouse turning out hundreds of millions of cartridges every year. And historically, close to half of those rounds bleed straight into the civilian market. Hunters, competitive shooters, weekend range regulars. We've all felt the ripple effect of what comes out of those lines. Back after the Vietnam era, the government pulled back on defense spending, and a lot of ammunition plants hit a fork in the road. Either they picked up civilian contracts to keep the machines humming, or they shut the lights off. It was the everyday shooter that kept those workers punching in, which meant when Uncle Sam called again, production could ramp up overnight. That partnership, military on one side, civilian market on the other, has kept America's ammo backbone alive for decades. Now we're staring at a brand new wave of investment. Over $1 billion is being poured into what they're calling next-generation ammunition plants. This isn't just a coat of paint and a new conveyor belt. Picture robotics sliding rows of brass cases, temperature-controlled powder rooms, primer machines that seat with perfect precision, and lines that can swap from 5.56 in the morning to 7.62 NATO by lunchtime. Cleaner, faster, safer. That kind of modernization doesn't just feed the military. It steadies the flow for every civilian shooter pulling rounds off a shelf. On top of that, there's another $2 billion strictly for raw materials, primers, powder, brass, the three pillars of cartridge production. If you lived through the 2020 shortage, you already know. You can have presses running all day long, but with no primers, you're done. Back then, reloaders were paying triple, sometimes 4 times the normal price. Brass was late, powder orders stalled, and entire plants went quiet waiting for supplies. This funding is basically America stocking its own ammo pantry, so the next time politics, world events, or a flood of new gun owners sparks a rush, the supply lines don't snap in half. And sure, $10 million for expanding the workforce looks tiny next to those billions, but don't dismiss it. All those high-tech machines don't run themselves. You need skilled operators, maintenance crews, engineers, and quality control techs who can keep tolerances razor sharp and troubleshoot in real time. Without them, all that fancy gear is just shiny scrap metal. This bill locks in the people side of the equation, making sure production stays steady no matter what. Here's the part that really matters for us. This isn't just some defense readiness talking point. It's going to hit the civilian ammo market directly. Every shooter remembers how bad it got. One month, you're grabbing a case of 9mm for $200. The next, shelves are bare, and you're lucky to find anything at 40 cents a round. With billions now driving machines, raw materials, and skilled labor, that roller coaster finally starts to level out. Your neighborhood shop won't be begging a distributor for a single lonely case of 5.56 NATO. Your favorite online retailer won't be plastered with out-of-stock banners on every caliber. Instructors teaching concealed carry or rifle classes won't be cutting courses short because ammo ran dry. And here's the real win. A stable supply kills panic buying. When shooters know they can grab the same box next week at the same price, the urge to hoard disappears. That means shelves stay stocked, prices stay fair, and the entire gun community benefits. More availability equals more range time. More range time equals more skill. And skill is what keeps Americans safe, competent, and prepared. Whether you're brand new to the gun world or you've been running drills for decades, steady ammo supply means more time behind the trigger. So let me know what you think of this investment plan down in the comments. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, and share your take. I'll see you on the next one. This move isn't some new idea cooked up in DC. It comes straight out of a playbook we've been running for decades to keep America's ammo plants alive when the wars cool off. After Vietnam, the military downsized, and a lot of our ammunition facilities were hanging by a thread. Civilian orders weren't just a side hustle, they were the lifeline. That's what kept the machines running, what kept skilled workers from walking away, and what kept our military from facing a dead-cold start if another conflict lit up. That same cycle repeated after the Gulf War, after the War on Terror, and every single slowdown in between. Civilian demand was the bridge that carried us until the military needed to hit the throttle again. Now jump ahead to 2020, and the whole system got stress-tested. The pandemic hit, and it showed just how fragile our ammo supply chain really was. Primers stuck overseas, brass shipments sitting in ports, powder deliveries lagging, and U.S. factories idling while demand went through the roof. That wasn't just a headache for shooters. It was a warning shot for the whole country. And this bill? That's the answer. Rebuild the backbone, lock down raw materials, bring the critical manufacturing back on U.S. soil. So next time we don't have to wait on a container ship before we can even start training. And look at the timing. Signed right before Independence Day. That wasn't an accident. Because for most Americans, ammo isn't just brass and powder. It's the physical expression of responsibility and freedom. The freedom to train, to protect, to stay sharp, without asking permission. And here's the part nobody in the mainstream talks about. Half the small arms ammo that rolls out of government-affiliated plants, it doesn't go straight to Uncle Sam. It lands in civilian hands. That means every single dollar poured into this program doesn't just help the military. It ripples through our ranges, our hunting camps, our concealed carry classes, and our homes. It keeps the culture alive, it keeps skills sharp, and it makes sure the next generation has a place to step up. So yeah, on paper, this might look like another line item buried in a giant defense budget. But if you actually shoot, train, or buy ammo, this is a real win. More machines, more materials, more skilled hands on the line. That equals more boxes on shelves and fewer price spikes that make you think twice about pulling the trigger at the range. Doesn't matter if you're a weekend plinker, a competitive shooter, a hunter gearing up for the fall, or a homeowner keeping mags loaded for defense. This is going to make a difference you can feel. And it's not just about saving a couple bucks. It's about stability. It's about preparedness. And it's about keeping America's ammo supply in American hands. That's a win for the military. That's a win for the civilian market. And that's a win for every responsible gun owner who believes in staying sharp. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Stay sharp, and I'll see you on the next one.